Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We're back for the final match of day one in the Cape Town Sevens, and it is going to be a home field advantage for the Blitzboks taking on the Canadians. What promises to be an exciting way to close out the day. Now, South Africa and Dubai. What can you say other than they were brilliant? They did have their early defeat up against Great Britain, but then from there just fired back to back to back to back wins and managed to get themselves that Dubai Sevens Championship. Looking through at the lineup that they've gone with in this game up against Canada, it will be Ryan Oosterhuizen, Impey Visa, JC Pretorius, Savui Sawyers Wapi, Muller Duplessis, Shilton Van Veek, and Ricardo James Duarte. Now, that man last week was sensational. He's going to come out of nowhere. For those who don't know the Sevens circuit, Duarte, he's a ball full of energy. He's going to be putting in 150%, and also very, very good step on him, which could cause South Africa to get a few more tries throughout this Cape Town Sevens. Looking at the Canadian lineup, Phil Burner, Jake Thiel, Alex Russell, Josiah Mora, Brock Webster, Thomas Isherwood normally has a free-flowing mullet for the Canadian side, and then Lachlan Kratz, the last man in that Canadian starting lineup. So theoretically, on paper, this game should be possibly quite one-sided in favour of the Blitzboks. We've seen some handling errors recently, though. That is due to the dew at Cape Town Stadium, so possibly not quite as free-flowing for the Blitzboks as they would like for this matchup. But Canada, they'll be in the same boat. Both sides now coming out of the tunnel for the final match of the Cape Town Sevens for day one. Two players making their way out onto the field. There's Ryan Oosterhuizen and Zane Davids, both bringing up milestones for the Cape Town Sevens here. Looking at the bench of South Africa, they got Branko de Pree, Zane Davids, James Murphy, Darren Adonis, and then also Delvin Blood as that last option that they can use. And for them, it's all about finding the right time to release those subs. And the more important matches, I think South Africa's game management was very strong in Dubai. They'll be looking to replicate that. Hello again, Kiwi Lads, doing great. Let's hope this game is exciting. Canada, an unknown entity, says Roof there. And that's the thing. We have already seen the upset. Spain beating New Zealand in this competition. Great Britain beating Australia. Canada, we can't underestimate them here. Who knows what's going to happen when this Canadian side get their hands on the ball. But Duarte, we know what's going to happen when that man gets his hands on the ball. He's going to be smiling about it and probably going to be having the vein in the neck absolutely popping off the side of his head. But now, Ricardo James Duarte kicking us off for this last game of the Super Session for day one. Nicely taken in the air by the youngster Brock Webster, driven backwards in the tackle by Ryan Oosterhuizen. Canada with this ball on their 22. Isherwood finds his first offload to Lachlan Kratz. A lot of pressure coming from the Blitzboks defense. Vantage offside straight away in favour of the Canadians. They will be going back for that one. And how did they beat the Aussies? Says Sebastian. I mean, they managed to get themselves their last-minute try again. It seems to be similar fashion what they were able to do up against the South Africans in Dubai. It just seems to be one match a weekend at the moment. Great Britain go very well. So they'll be hoping to make their way right through to the quarterfinals. James Duarte tries to keep that one in the field of play. It's a good kick downfield, though, from the Canadians with Brock Webster. And now with 6 minutes left in the half, Canada with the first attacking opportunity. Isher with the mullet man. About to throw this one in. They go to the back. Nicely taken by Canada. Isherwood claims it there 40 metres out. Webster gives the offload back to Isherwood. Driven nicely backwards in the tackle by Duplessis. Almost turned over. But Canada, they've got the attacking opportunity now. Trying to cut back on the inside. Jake Thiel finds his offload. This is good work at the moment from Canada. Not allowing the Blitzboks to get that possession early. Brock Webster almost going straight through. Great protection of the ball. All Ryan Oosterhuizen, and that's dirty. In fact, that's probably lucky not to be a yellow card for Ryan Oosterhuizen, and he was stood in an offside position, took the ball away from the breakdown for the Canadians. I think if that wasn't in the first minute of the game, maybe Oosterhuizen could have found himself in the bin. And also, actually, the clue is in the name. Great, isn't it? Says Sebastian. Maybe. I don't actually know the real reason behind why it's called Great Britain rather than just Britain. I'm sure there's some sort of either political or historic reasoning behind it. I feel like it'd be quite fun having great in your name, wouldn't it? Trying to think if there's any other teams with like great in their name, but I don't think there are. And also, Branko is super speed, so he certainly is. It's available for Canada again. Isherwood, now one more. Here come Canada with Kratz. 5 out. Blitzboks defense going to be tested early here up against the South Africans, but that's a knock on. Jake Thiel, he run an attacking line right next to the breakdown and went through his hands. And now Duarte gives it off to Xavier Wapi. Cuts back nicely, 25 metres out from their line now. Shelton Van Vick, one of the standouts for the South Africans in Dubai alongside Duarte. Now he stays and gives it off to MP Visa. Brilliant fend there. Still charging for it. Good hustle there from Brock Webster. Looking for that ball, wasn't able to get it. Woolstays now. Quick hands. Gonna be a slip from Duarte. He's just slippery when he runs with the ball in hand. Although Canada get over the ball, win themselves the turnover penalty. I'm interested to know what the betting odds for this game would be sitting at the moment, because Canada haven't been looking terrible throughout the first stages of this matchup. In fact, out of the two sides, they'll probably be looking the stronger in the first 3.5 minutes. 3 penalties conceded against the Blitzboks, something that they certainly will not be happy about. Conceding penalty after penalty. Not at this stage tries, though, which will give them a bit of confidence. Okay, Canada actually, wow. Canada were $12 underdogs in this matchup, which is pretty big for the Canadians. Now they're down to $6.30, and a brilliant set play move by Canada. Ball on the outside, gives it off to Josiah Mora. 30 metres out now for the Canadians. 3 minutes left in the first half. Nice pass from Isherwood, lapping around beautifully, and now he's got a bit of space. Ball on the outside. Russell will be scoring it. Canada get themselves the first try of the match. And that's something that a few people probably wouldn't have predicted. And speaking of which, aren't the Kiwis worried that in a few centuries' time, New Zealand won't be, new, says Sebastian. It's a good point. But I guess, where do you go from New Zealand? Do you go to just like Zealand? Like, what stage do you get to where that it's like getting a new car, isn't it? Like, I still call our car that we got about 5 years ago new. And I feel like, what stage does it not be the new car? I guess when there's a newer car that comes in. So maybe New Zealand, it'll be all right until another New Zealand comes along. And then it'll be the older of the two. Like siblings, isn't it? But that's going to be a good kick over from Canada. They're currently $4.30 underdogs in this matchup to go on, get themselves a win. But like I mentioned, they were $12 underdogs. They've had all the possession in the first half throughout the first 5 minutes. South Africa have had one real attacking opportunity. Other than that, though, has been all Canada. It's going to be a good tester for the Blitzboks early on in their competition. Trying to slap that one back. But there was a knock on by Mora. The ball available now for Duarte. Is it off to Xavier Wapi? Starting to get dark out there, playing under lights isn't always great. Now Ryan stays, and JC Pretorius, in fact, tackle was a bit high in the attempt from Canada. Rough pass. They will be going back for that penalty on the halfway line. 90 seconds left to the first now. South Africa, no rush to take this one. Looks like they will either consider kicking this one downfield for the line out, or maybe going for the quick tag. Good morning, all you big mofos. Chad, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. Very rarely offload the ball, averaging 7 per tournament for South Africa stats. That's interesting, because they used to be a side that did quite enjoy a good offload every once in a while. They're more likely to kick the ball in behind, I feel, than any other side, other than maybe the Samoans or one of those other teams such as Argentina or Spain. MP Visa, ball on the outside. Now this is a good crack for South Africa. Mola Duplessis goes in, scores the try for the Blitzboks. That's the one they've been after for a long time, and they finally get it here, South Africa. My scoreboard's asleep. There we go. As updated, Canada were able to get themselves a try a bit earlier on. Now we've seen the try scored by Mola Duplessis. And with 20 seconds left on the clock, I believe we will still have time for the set restart. Or the kickoff restart, I should say. But Impey Visa, few big fins, got through Isherwood. And also alongside that, broke through the tackle of Alex Russell, the Canadian try scorer. Webster with the last-ditch effort wasn't quite able to get to it there. And also, mate, did you see you won an award? End-of-year award show? I did. saw that I got the Gaza Pick of the Year, which I feel like a very big honour. I'll have to claim it at some stage. Distracted Sports straight away after I was told about that, and after I watched it, everyone was saying, "When are you going to Auckland?" So I feel like that's going to have to be a trip in the next few months at some point. Go up. I don't know whether you purchase multiple of the awards, though. I might just have to get a picture of it, perhaps. Might be the better way of doing it. Kicked into touch by Canada. So the score at halftime will remain 5 points for the South Africans and 7 for the Canadians here. South Africa, they're ranked number 1 after the Dubai Sevens with the brilliant way that they were able to play that competition. They had that early adversity, which is actually, to be honest, that's exactly what we're seeing here. They lost their first game in Dubai up against Great Britain. There's a potential that they could lose their first game of this competition up against the Canadians, but it's not exactly doom and gloom for the Blitzboks, because if they go on and win the whole competition, I think everyone would be pretty happy with the way they've been able to turn it around for Cape Town. And this new side, of course, losing Neil Powell in the coaching side. And also, congratulations, it's a very prestigious award, says Distracted Sports there as well. Yeah, some pretty elite category or pretty elite nominations in that grouping. Myself, his son, probably would have been favourite to be able to take that one. Yourself, and also the late, great Gareth Mason in there as well. I've been absolutely loving watching the South Africans fire, and not just the Sevens, but the Union throughout 2022. It looks like now, though, South Africa fired up this halftime break in the huddle. They've got to turn it around. They've had handling errors. They've also had quite a few penalties against them. I believe the penalty count up to about 3. Canada, though, actually the only team with a registered error on the board, which is interesting down. Come on, the Blitzboks, says JP. Yeah, the second half's going to be important for them. They're only down by 2 points, so can certainly fire back. Their next game will be up against the Fijians, who have just got themselves a quite comfortable win over the French, 33 points to nil. So they're in form. South Africa, they'll have to find theirs in the second, I almost said the second 40, but the second 7 minutes. Not a lot of time to be able to deal with how quickly the Sevens world turns around. And also can't believe Brazil lost to Croatia. They are out of the World Cup, says Yanni now. They are indeed. The penalty shootout. Croatia able to win it 4-2. Brock Webster kicks us off in the second half. Canada back underway. Oh no, it's kicked out on the full. That's not what they would have wanted at the start of this one. In fact, I would think straight away that probably affects their betting odds again. Canada currently $6.65 underdogs, somewhere around what people would be expecting to an extent. But with a 2-point lead, probably not what people were expecting for that one. And also a great vlog. Has the vid performing well? Do you do more of those? Says Distractors. I've actually mentioned, though, that was probably our best vlog that we're going to do on the channel. Like, we'll have others coming out after it, but I feel like the fact that Isaac was down, the fact that we did so much throughout that kind of few days or so, I feel like it's just going to be the best. And now we're going to be forever trying to top it, which is going to be tricky. Man, George, we haven't really done too much this week. I'll have to get a few more ideas going through. Knock on from Duarte. Massive mistake from the Blitzboks there. That was a great opportunity. But they are now going to be defending this going. Congrats, Kiwi Lads. Prestigious award, Hamish, says Nate there. And also Sebastian, new, ain't so new after centuries, eh? And Sebastian, welcome to my world. Cape Town. The stadium is about 10 to 15 minutes drive from where I live. Close by. Enjoy, says Revan. Come on the Blitzies, says Ina. Scrum feed, Canada. They score now. Don't get me wrong, it will get them a long way towards a victory, but the game is not over yet. That is the beauty of Sevens. You never know who's going to win it right up until the final whistle. Brock Webster, nice line break. There's a one more on the outside. I believe that is actually going to be Auckland Kratz. We've hardly seen him today. He's going to be caught pretty quickly by Shilton Van Vink. He's got a huge amount of toe, that man. Nice ball off to Jake Thiel. Rough pass, doesn't hit the hand. Or did it? I only saw one knock on. Alex Russell saying that South Africa knocked the ball on a bit earlier. But it is going to be the scrum for the South Africans in the end here. We've got 5 more minutes to go. There's the call there from the man on the loudspeaker. And screw that noise. Do more of them. You can carry them. Trust me. Got this, you silly sausage, says Distracted Sports. Yeah, we're going to have to find activities. I know that there's a strawberry fair on today, but I'll be sleeping during the day. We'll have to get me and George Monday or Tuesday. We're going to have to do something. We're going to bake a carrot cake at some stage. That's going to be a dangerous mission. And come on the block. There, dude. Oh, lava. Nice run. Shilton Van Wyk gives it off now to Zaviwe. Sawyer's Wapi. Nice fan. Great defense from Mora. Absolutely fantastic from the Canadian number 6. Now back across here. South Africa with JC Pretorius, a man who can change a game pretty quick. Nice work from MP Visa. South Africans now looking to build few phases in a row here. Duarte goes off to the right-hand side. The cutout pass to Chilton Van Wyk. He's going to back himself with the grubber. Stays on his feet. Chases it. Takes it. Scores the try for South Africa. And they will now have to lead. The crowd are electric in Cape Town with Chilton Van Wyk's first try of the competition. And it will always be Aotearoa from day go. Arohanui, says Nate there as well. Chilton Van Wyk goes down the wing. Great work from him to be able to stay on his feet. Normally, that's a very tricky skill because as you're getting tackled, normally the legs just don't quite work. But the missed tackle attempt from Mora meant he was able to continue with that run through. No Canadian was getting him behind to catch him. And now does give that bit more of a lead in favour of South Africa. And strange that New Zealand is actually a continent that's mostly underwater. Is JP. Yeah, I believe there was something that I think it might have been in school, which is why I vaguely remember it. But there was something about the fact that if the water level around the world dropped, New Zealand would just keep on growing. Which I guess is the case. If the water level keeps rising, New Zealand will keep on shrinking. I feel like that was a very basic statement that I just made. But 10 points for South Africa on the board, 7 for the Canadians here. Kicked off long by Duarte. Going to be kicked up. Oh, Oosterhuizen! What a kick from Duarte. That changes the matchup now. And Ryan Oosterhuizen scores it. He bounced it in the field of play. Canada, they decided to try and leave that ball, allow it to go into touch, but that did not happen. Oosterhuizen gets his hand on the ball, scoops it up. And now South Africa with a bit more of a lead. Canada going to have to score twice to get themselves the victory in Cape Town now. But just left alone. It's a mistake, unfortunately, for Nyonyo. He's only been on the field for about 30 seconds. And Zealander is rising, says Nate. That's not what they wanted in that one. Now with the odds, I believe they'll be, there you go, $100 underdogs here for the Canadians. But Duarte, you just see how much he was celebrating that one. 2 minutes left. Now Duarte going to be kicking off long. Let's go Blondie, says Nate for Ryan Oosterhuizen. And it's kicked off long again. Nicely taken by Brock Webster. He's dropped the ball. It's gone backwards just on the side. That's straight in through the side from South Africa. And it's a penalty to Canada. Well, losing the footing in the end. Referee involved in that quick tap. They will have to go back and have it again. Awaru trying to get it underway straight after pretty much that penalty was given. It's a bit of confusion from Thomas Isherwood. Going, why aren't we able to take that? The referee's going, because I touched it. So you can't do that. Going to be the scrum feed now for the Canadians. And nice, my boys, says Ina there. Yeah, they've certainly had a better second half, South Africa, than they did in the first. They've had a bit more possession. Canada have still had their moments in this game. They've had 17 carries, 21 passes made, whereas South Africa sitting on 13 carries, 23 passes have been completed as well. Now a bit of binding from Canada and South Africa. It's like quite a scrappy scrum between the two. The hook was missed for an initial period, but then now I've been able to get it back. Kratz trying to go through. Bit of a step there. Good low tackle made by the enforcer, Zane Davids. And off to the left-hand side, Brock Webster cut off, gets back to his feet. Penalty to the Blitzboks, and this will be their chance now to be able to possibly run in another try. Out the back line here, it's going to be James Murphy, Iron Oosterhuizen. In fact, it's JC Pretorius on the outside. Wrestled down, 30 seconds left on the clock now for the Blitzboks. Branco de Prea gives it up to Duarte. Another advantage in favour of South Africa. This is where they start to flow and get that momentum rolling. James Murphy trying to break through. Another good tackle made on him, I believe. The penalty goes in favour of Canada. I just realized my scoreboard was a bit slow. Currently 10 points difference between the two sides. Only another 5 seconds left on the clock. So Canada, they can't win this game, but they could cut down their points differential. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. Rather than kicking this ball into touch off a tap, they're going to go for one last line out here for Canada. Now, this tactic can backfire, but in a group with Fiji, you need to be as close as possible to a par level of scoring so that you can have half a chance of making it through on that points differential. But they will have to win against Fiji, which is going to be a tough game. Webster now gives it off. That's a good shot on him by James Murphy. Kratz wrestled down by Zane Davis. The ball comes free. South Africa, little knock on from Duarte. And that will be the end of the game. South Africa end up winning it on home soil, 17 points to 7. They'll take that at the end of the day. They were down at the start. Canada were the first team to score. South Africa, they had some good moments in that second half, including that brilliant kickoff from Duarte that went straight to Ryan Oosthuizen to score himself another try in the Sevens circuit. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in to the Sevens live streams. This one's the last one of a little while. The next live stream that we have got on the channel will be at 5 p.m. New Zealand time. That will be the matchup taking place between the West Indies and Australia. Followed in about 3 hours after that, New Zealand versus Kenya. Going to be one of the games. South Africa, I believe the next game that we're covering is up against Fiji. That's at about 10:11 tomorrow. That game will be taking place. Well done, South Africa, says Josh Bennington. Yeah, they fought hard. They did have a patch where they looked like they were struggling in that first half. Their discipline was letting them down. But then second half came around. That halftime chat really must have worked. It was a whole different Blitzboks side for that second 7 minutes of the game. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we will see you back tomorrow for some more of the Sevens.